got some awesome footage this morning. Who was there this morning? That's the way? Good. So I won't use any names. Unless it's really great skiing. In which case I won't use any names. Okay. I'll get right into this. You know what? Who is this? Is a good skier? Who is this good skier?
Me.
You? Where are you? Good skier. You know, he's a good skier because he's got a really nice feel for the ski on the snow and the rhythm of the turn. It's really good skiing. Okay, good. Good work. What's your name?
Ben.
Okay, I'm going to use your name. Ben's a really good skier. Very well. You watch. I know Ben's a good skier. If you take an arc, there's an arc. If you take an arc like that, so that's the top of the turn, that's the bottom of the turn. You know someone's smooth on their skis when the skis are doing this through the arc. So when the skis, this is good, huh? This is good right here. When the skis are doing that through the arc. So the ski is at the right place at the right time through the turn. You watch some skiers, and at the place in the turn where the ski should be here, like that, tangent to the arc, the skier ends up with the ski turned like this. So in a sense, the ski is at that part of the turn, but way up high in the arc. So someone that can turn the ski smoothly and get it to go on the tangent of that arc all the way through, you know that the person has a smooth feel for the ski and the steering of the ski, and is probably standing in the center of the ski. And that's why this is a good skier. What the skier has to do to get better is needs to turn from the lower body a little bit better, like that. Okay, watch here, and I can see there we should see some angulation here at the hip. So there's a little bit of hip involvement in the turning effort. So this person, Ben, looks like that instead of that. There. So to change Ben skiing, we need some hip angulation, a little bit better turning effort in the lower body, and that's going to come because Ben's a good skier. Good. Nice feel for that. Okay, Helen. Oh, I'm not going to use names. Scratch that. Scratch that off of YouTube, please. Okay, good.
Calvary Siggy.
What is it?
Calvary Siggy.
Okay. In order to turn your legs effectively, you need to stand like this. This is how you pivot. If your stance is off forward or backwards, then you can't pivot. If you're back, the tail of the ski won't let you pivot the legs. If you're forward like this, you'll end up pivoting like that. You've got to stand this way. It engages the muscles, the hamstrings in behind the legs and the glutes, and allows the skier to do that. This person, the femur gets too straight here, and that disengages the glutes and the hamstrings and makes it impossible to turn the legs effectively. So this person has to work on her stance, making sure that the femur doesn't get too straight up like that. When you do that, as soon as the femur gets straight up like that, you disengage the big muscles in the body, in the legs, and because there's forward lean in the boot, and then the straight femur, the skier is ahead of center and doing that kind of thing. So we've got to fix this person's stance for her to be better. And I talked to her today, and doing stuff like in the summer, like doing squats, 500 pounds, the bar bending around the person like that, just like this, and using the big muscles here, like that, using the big muscles like this, and that would help big time. And skiers, for world-class skiers, squats are are the thing to do. You go to the gym, you'll see them in the gym here in Whistler in the summer, doing the squats to build up these muscles here and get powerful and get those muscles engaged. You talk about, you know, where you ski from. If you're a great skier, you ski from here. If you're a great skier, ski from the glutes and the hammies. Okay, this person's a good skier. Who is this? Good job, man. Good skier here. Good job, good job. Okay, just when this person starts to turn, the extension has to come from the ankle and the knee. You're staying just a little bit flexed with that part of the body, so you've got to get this kind of a thing going because you end up a little bit forward, high in the turn.
Early in the turn?
Yeah, just in there. Oh, sorry. Just in there. Because the ankle and knee don't extend at the top, you end up a little flexed in here, and your hips get a little bit forward over top of the feet. So you want to start the turn by extending that way, getting the legs to extend like this, and then gradually flexing as the turn progresses. Good. A very good skier, and again, I know this person's a good skier because the first thing that I look at is the skis, and I see that the skis are at the right place at the right time on the snow. Okay, what part of the ski moves a lot with this skier? The tail of the ski moves a lot, so this person's pivot point is forward. This person is doing this, like that. They're skiing like that and moving the back of the ski instead of operating that way on the skis. And when your pivot point's forward, what else happens to the hip? If I go like this with my tail of my skis, what happens here? It rhymes with rotate. It rotates, yeah. Yeah, it has to. It has to. If your pivot point is forward, the hip has to rotate. If you pivot from the middle here, then you can separate. Pivot this way, you can separate the hip. Pivot that way, and the hip will come out. Okay? You know, this skier is smooth, man, smooth. Like an old Scotch. We've got to get some angles in this person skiing, though. And when I say angles, I mean angles in the body. Person's very smooth, but we should see some angulation coming through here. We should see some angulation at the hip. How are we going to achieve that angulation? Rhymes with preparation. We've got to get some separation now. We've got to get the skier doing this and balancing to the outside ski that way. This person is moving everything with the ski, and it's smooth. It can be effective, but not as dynamic as we would like. And if this person can develop some angles in the body, angulation through separation, then this person will be a little more stable on the skis. But I like it. You know what? I like that. It's another person that has the feel of a ski on the snow. It's a nice, smooth skier. Okay. You know what? A good skier here. Again, the tail of the ski gets moved with this skier. You can see there where the feet get moved to the side. So what's happening is the pivot point's a little forward and the person is doing that and moving the skis to the side. So we've got to get the weight back. We've got to develop more of that inner ski, stronger pivoting effort in the ski. But again, a good skier. Nice, smooth feel for the snow. Okay. Again, you know, it's like a common thing. Again, a little forward pivot point with this person. You can see the feet being displaced to the side. See the way the feet move to the side. Okay, and you can tell there's a forward pivot point. You see up high, the angle here, angle there, and the hip being in front of the foot. So the person is doing that, like that. Better on the right leg. This side here is a stronger side. That side, the person gets inside a little bit. Good skier. Level 3, going for level 4, that guy. Okay. Okay, this person here has to develop stronger pivoting effort and separation. And I know that because in here, I should see some angulation at the hip. I should see some angulation here. In a sense, if I can take that bump and put it on that side of the body, so the person looks like that, instead of like this here, it looks like that. So put that bump over on that side of the body, like this, and then things will be good. So stronger pivoting effort and more separation. I've worked with this skier, and he or she is quite tight in the connection between the femur and the hip socket. And the better you are, like the more flexible you are with that connection between the femur and the hip socket, the better skier you are. When you watch World Cup skiers and they're doing that and they've got their ass on the snow and their hip is inside and they're still 100% weighted on the outside ski, it's because they're incredibly flexible through the hip socket. The best people on the planet at pivoting are World Cup racers. They're the best people at pivoting. If you can't pivot, you can't do what they're doing. You can't separate like this unless you have good flexibility between your hip and your leg. I spend like 90% of my time just working on that, whether it be side slipping or javelin side slip or javelin turns or you name it. All my time is spent doing that.
Ken?
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking at the last few that seems to have like
Similar stuff, yeah.
Always the shoulder seems to be
Tipped in.
like we're trying to level out those shoulders by either dragging the outside ball or consciously thinking of
Yeah, you know what, it's going in the right direction.
Would that help?
Yeah, it's going in the right direction, but ultimately, the ability to turn the leg against the hip, turn the leg this way while the hip operates that way, that is what the person ultimately needs to learn. You can do the shoulders, but then, and we've all seen that, so someone that has the hip out like this, but they're going like that with their shoulders, that's different than when they get flexibility and they're like that, when everything is aligned.
Not necessarily turning like this, but more like so you create an angle here. I cannot have my butt here and maybe I can.
Yeah.
I'm flexible. No, I was just thinking here, trying to.
Did I ski with you today? I think I did. You know, I was saying in the group today, and I think I did this the last session. If I want to pick up, if I stand like this, and if I want to angulate and pick up that camera case, as long as that side of my hip is in place right there, I can't bend down and get it because the hip blocks me. If I want to pick up the camera case, I'll get a little lead change like this, then I'll clear my hip by separating, so there's a difference between my feet and my hip, and then I can bend over and pick up the camera case. But until I get separated, I can't angulate. As long as that's there, I can't angulate. And as long as that's there and I can't angulate, I can't steer effectively and balance on the outside ski and all that stuff. So, and that's what's happening. You can see it's blocking. This person knows to angulate, but that is blocking. So he or she has to, you know, in whatever, steering this way, holding tension in the hip a little bit, or strengthening the hip so that separation is created. Another level 4 candidate right there. Very good skier. Okay, this person has to learn to get more active in the feet and the legs. You see, if you look at the angle that the skis come across the slopes, and when I say that, look at the degree to which the skier completes the turn, and you can see that the turn has to go more this way. Another telltale sign is that the skis actually open up. There's a gap that opens up in between the feet, so this person has to learn to do that, and to, you know, braquage and spice and that kind of thing. So that person, you know, your wheels are down there. Those are your wheels when you ski, and if that person can learn that, then he's going to become a good skier. Okay, smooth skier here. Another person that has a feel for the roundness of the arc. Okay, gets a little flexed in the ankle joint, right in there. Sorry. And in there, you see the way the foot goes back and the ankle has a lot of flexion to it. And we'll see with this person who's higher end skiing that lateral moves are what are required. So instead of going like that in the skiing where the legs move in as a result of leg turning and separation like this, the person has a little bit of that going on where the ankle goes forward, and that takes away from the ski performance, as we'll see in some of the faster skiing. Okay, forward skier. Forward pivot point, the feet get displaced to the side. Again, you know, something that will help this skier is to extend less at the start of the turn. What this person's doing is here like that, and then coming up like this, tall, and then moving the back of the ski out in order to get edge grip. Something that'll help is to extend less. You know, when you're skiing, you never want your femur to go vertical. As soon as your femur goes vertical, you're too far forward. So when you operate in terms of flexion and extension, you know, you can operate from down here to about there. There is your range. You don't want to go to there, or else the forward lean in the boot is going to pitch you forward. So that'll help her out. And so I work on pivoting and just toning down the extension. You see how tall that the skier gets and how straight the leg gets here. With the leg that straight, the pivot point goes there, and the feet are going to get displaced to the side. Okay, some rotation here. You see how the skier operates as one? Like this. We got to get this skier operating opposite. I have an interesting story for you. I was up in North Prince George on the weekend, and I was skiing with some of the ski school people up there, and they never get trained much up there, and then so they all have their issues. And then this one woman, she was in her 50s, and she was a great skier, and like a level 3, you know, up like a rose among the thorns up north, and so you know, she was in my class, and I asked her what's going, like, where'd she learn to ski like that, and she couldn't really tell me, but she said that she was an ultra marathon runner, that she was running like 60-mile races a couple of times a year, and it got me thinking, because she was able to turn her legs one way and counter that or balance with angulation, you know, and steering coming through the turn. And I was thinking that when we run or walk, that it's opposite. That leg goes and this leg goes. I think all primates, monkeys, all monkeys do that. So that one leg, the left leg goes and then the right hand, like that. Does anyone want to demonstrate that one for me? And I think skiing is like that. Like you ski with your left leg as being the outside leg, and you should do that, like this. And then when the other leg comes around, you should be doing this. So you're always, in a sense, using that same walking motion. I don't know what, there's a name for that. Who's an anthropologist? Who's an anthropologist in the room? There's a name for that. You go one way here, like this in skiing, and like that. And what this person is doing is this, like this. Be like walking like that.
Take me to your leader.
Okay, need for separation with this skier too, especially at the end of the turn. See him come around. Anytime if the hip rotates a little bit like that and the skier doesn't have enough angulation, the back of the ski is going to slip out a little bit. And you'll see it with this person on that right ski. Pretty good in there, and then the right ski will just slip out a little bit there. Another person that's going for their level 4. Short radius. Good. Okay, a skilled skier that just needs to change the strategy a little bit. Just round out the turns, round them out, round them out. You know, if you make a short radius turn too fast, then you end up moving the base this way. And they should say that they should call skiing. You know when snowboarders say, "Do you want to go riding with me? Do you want to go riding?" We should say that for skiing. Who wants to come riding with me? Because great skiers ride their equipment. And when you make a short radius turn a little too short, then the tendency is to move the base of support where you're no longer riding the equipment, but you're kind of moving it around a little bit, and that's not the best way of doing it. So I know that this person's skilled, and if he just rounds out the arc a little bit so that the skis are doing this underneath them rather than that, it's going to be a better demonstration. Skilled. Guys got skilled. This guy's got skill as well. Good. Nice round turns. Just to make this better, this skier just has to change his timing a little bit. Because right now, he's going up when the base passes underneath. Oh, this is the first guy. I went too far. Good. That's Ben. Good skier. This, when the mechanics here, it's going up when the base passes under, which makes the ski a little bit light at the top of the turn. So to make your skiing even better, just use a little less up when the base comes underneath your body, and then you'll be able to engage the ski up here at the start of the next turn. So a little change there in the timing, so it's a more advanced timing, if you will, and your turns will be even better. What's good is the separation with this skier. Okay, you can see the line of the jacket, because the skis are going this way, the body is coming that way, the line of the jacket is nice and level. And you see a bump on this side of the body. So he's doing that. That. His mechanics are this way, and not that way. I come in peace, but don't teach me how to ski. Good. And just a little bit light in between the turns. A little bit forward. Again, the femur gets high, the person is forward, the stance. Okay, the stance ends up here, you get more angle. Get more angle in that bone like that, the femur. Get a sharper angle this way here, and then start to use the glutes and the hamstrings in the back of the leg, like that. as opposed to the stance is a little bit here. You can see the back of the skis. If you saw that, the back of the skis are moving. So we'll just change the stance a little bit, get this person skiing further back, get them engaging the big muscles, the glutes, and then this person will be a great skier. Again, that, when that's going on, it straightens the leg too much. Okay, you know what? This fellow here has come a long way with his skiing. He's getting better, this guy, I'm proud to say, because from his part of the world, there's not a lot of snow. So he might be the best skier from his country. Okay, you can see how everything turns as one. So what we're working on here with this fellow is getting some separation. Everything turns as one. He's getting some separation here. You can see where the pole plant is, trying to get the pole plant away. He's just got to watch, that it's not, it's kind of this and this. So we've got to lower the separation. And we're doing stuff like javelin turns, any wedge type exercise, some brocage. We are doing some brocage today. And this person is going in the right direction with his skiing. Again, this is, we saw in the intermediate parallel, again a good skier, but we need to get some angulation at the hip as a result of separation. It's a very good skier. He ends up like that, where this blocks. That bump there means that the hip has come like this, like that, and then, so there we go. So he's like that. He's turned the hip with the legs, and now he's got to pick up the camera case, and he can't, because he can't get down there. So what he's got to do is turn the legs, get improved separation, and then he can go down like that, and he can pick up the camera case. A little forward here, you can see the feet moving from side to side. Okay. So the pivot point's up near the front part of the ski there. Feet are getting moved that way. So get the stance back, start to pivot from underneath. Okay, forward pivot point as well, similar. You can see how straight the femur goes. You don't see it bending. You don't see it bending much that way in order to get centered and facilitate the separation. This is following the skis. Following the skis, moving the body to move the skis. Get that guy doing spies until he can't stand it anymore. Be a good skier. Okay, just forward in the ankle joint. You see the back of the ski moving away a little bit. Good skier, he's got to work on lateral moves. He wants his legs to go sideways, not forward. Legs go sideways. This is just skiing in one piece, like that. You know what? This fellow's working hard, and he's doing okay. He's just got to get a little bit lower and show a little stronger turning effort of the ski through the end of the turn. And then the ski's going to start to react for him. Okay, instead of there, turn the ski more this way. In order to do that, a lower stance is required. If I go like that, and if I twist this bag and just keep twisting the bag like that, eventually the two ends of the bag get very close together. And so, and that's because the bag needs to accommodate the twist that's happening. Same thing too, if you need to get a completed turn with more separation and more steering, you better bring your waist closer to your ski boots to accommodate the increased separation that's required through the end of the turn. So he's got to get a little lower, increase the steering of the ski through the end of the turn, and then if you look at that and go, the skis don't look as lively as they should look, Well, that's why. The ski's not quite coming across the path of travel enough, and it doesn't have that. And now we did a little carving. I'm just going to let this play and I'll comment quickly on this. Okay, that's forward in the ankle. Like that. Again, that skier's got to work this way. Turn the legs and move sideways on the ski. He's got a lot of that in the skiing, and it takes away from the ski performance. I got a question for you guys. I was going to let it play, but I've got a question for you. If you're carving turns and you've got a 15-meter radius ski and you want to make 13-meter carved turns, how do you do it? Okay. Increase the edge angle on the snow. Okay, if you have the ski tipped up like this, and then you tip it up like that, it bends the ski more, because the distance between the edge of the ski and the snow surface increases. So it bends the ski more. The more you go like that with the ski, the more bend you get. That's why the World Cup guys are World Cup guys, because they can get their skis so far tipped up that they don't have to twist the ski and cause friction. They can just increase the edge to tighten up the radius of the ski. And that's why, you know, for that skier, being able to move laterally is going to improve this guy's skiing, because he's going to be able to carve at a tighter radius. Right now, if the movement is that way, the ski can only come up so high, and then it stops coming up on its side. And then if he wants to tighten the radius, he has to twist or push or do something that's going to increase friction. Okay, and very smooth, this skier, very smooth. Again, you know, I mentioned this with the intermediate parallel. We need to see some hip angulation as a result of separation or pivoting. Very smooth feel for the ski on the snow. We just got to see some hip angulation. So instead of the hip coming around there, it should be turned that way. So he's come to here. He's like that on the ski, which is cool. All right. If he goes like that on the ski and then can do this, then it's super cool. If you got the best guys, they could get their hip on the snow and still be balanced on the outside ski. Again, forward on the ski, and you see the ski kind of washing out. It's not as clean as the last person. You can see the ski, and it's because that the femur stays so straight with that skier that she doesn't get in the right spot stance-wise, and doesn't get the big muscles working as well. Okay, you know what? This is so much potential here. Just change your timing. Like you're doing intermediate timing for expert type skiing. So when I say that, your legs should be long, longest in the fall line. So you end up down there, okay, you end up down there in the fall line, your legs should be long right there. And then you go tall here, that's where you're tall, you should be short there. So just change the timing around for your advanced skiing, because the way you turn the legs and the hip angulation that you get is fantastic. What radius are those skis? They're a tight radius turn, huh?
13.
13.
Yeah.
Okay. Got to get some leg turning with this skier. You can see the hip coming around. And here's something interesting. This is another thing, another reason why you don't want hip rotation. If I stand like this here, look at my feet. If you can see my feet, I've got them tipped well on their side, and I've got separation. My hip is inside where the back of the ski is. I've got lots of hip angulation. The skis are up like that. I can even go further, you know, drop the hip further, get them up. When this starts to rotate like that, watch what happens to my shoes. Okay? If the hip rotates, the skis go flat. When the skis go flat, now you're skidding everywhere. So that's really, you know, when you're if you're doing a level 3 course coming up, level 3 teach, really, when people rotate the hips, the reason it sucks is it's not just because it doesn't look cool, because it flattens the ski out and makes the ski slip on the snow. You know, a good feel there, but again, just because of the way the body operates, he's moving away from the ski. He's got to do that and move to the ski. Move the head to the ski, move the hip away from the ski. That way.